And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And this afternoon, we've got the lovely David Brower, joining us all the way from Paris. Now, David has been with us before, both at the live event and on Inspired Online. So I'm very excited to have him back. He is the Sensorial Guy. So he spent, when we were meeting in person, creating all these beautiful sensory experiences for the people that came his way. So this could range from poetry, art, music, food, just absolutely sumptuous and gorgeous. And currently writing about romance. So I thought, what more fitting on Valentine's Day than to have David back? So welcome, welcome. It's really great to see you.
It's great to be here, Shay. Hi, everybody.
Hi. And you know the magic inspired question, but I'm going to ask it again anyway, which is if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
Well, today I'd say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and not just people who potentially are in a so-called relationship for that, but everyone who has a love affair with life. I
Mm,
think the message I want to pass is, develop, cultivate your love affair with life, which starts probably with your love affair with yourself,
mm,
and then sharing that abundantly with everyone that you come in contact with and with everything that you do, because this is what makes life jubilant and joyful, and for me this is how we mix pleasure with purpose, which is essential to living a beautiful, meaningful life.
absolutely. Well, a lot of richness there already. Let's pick that apart a little bit, as I always like to do, which is, how do you start with cultivating that love within yourself? What would you suggest to people?
Yeah, I think you want to start probably with some basic things that all of us do. It's almost, the famous sort of Maslow's hierarchy of things with your well-being. It's
Mm,
pretty easy to, look at, or at least list the things that you feel like you want to get better at in life, physiologically speaking, your body and how you feel in your body, how you move in your body. So getting that one way or another into shape, so you feel good, so you feel strong and flexible, and you like to move your body and you feel comfortable in your body, naked or dressed. So that's kind of key. I'm obviously very big on food,
yeah.
and really food is medicine, but food is also pleasure. Probably firstly pleasure for me, but it's very, very close pleasure and well-being. So nurturing yourself like this is critical. I also feel that things like austerity and challenge in life is an important way for us to build will and self-confidence. So, for example, in the month of January, I decided to do a dry January.
Like
So
you.
after all the festivities and everything, I chose voluntarily to stop drinking any alcohol at all and turn it into like a spiritual quest.
Yeah.
And it gives me incredible self agency and confidence, and the feeling that I'm not addicted to something, that I actually have control. I can say no, and you realize how empowered we are when we make a choice and we stick with it. Uh, so those are kind of the basic things I would say, and then afterwards, of course, relationship with others is the demonstration of you being and coming from a loving place. And I think Valentine's Day is so appropriate for this, because for me it's just an example of us wanting to demonstrate our love to others, and it's something really we should be doing every day with everybody. But we can talk more about what I mean by that.
Well, I was gonna, I was going to go back to, we did talk about self, and those are some great examples. And I'd love to dig more into the food thing as well, because we have a lot of people at the moment, actually, we'll just segue a little bit. We have a lot of people at the moment that are feeling super guilty about you know, oh, I drink too much in lockdown, or I've had too much chocolate, or I've put on too much weight. You know, these are the things that we are hearing a lot right now. You know, and what would you say in terms of, you know, redeveloping that thought pattern into, you know, one of nurture and love and
Yeah.
nurturing?
Well, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't want to pretend to know what everyone needs to do for that. But my way of looking at food and your relationship with it is, and this probably applies to really how I see life, is you want to be able to offer yourself the full palette of what life has to offer. All the tastes, all the smells, all the different kinds of foods. And, you know, I'm not really for necessarily abstinence, even though I did practice that for January there for around alcohol, but it's more so that I don't have to become abstinent long-term chronically. And so the question for me is, how can you cultivate a beautiful relationship with the kinds of foods that make you feel good, and this is the big part of it, and that it's stuff that you love. And to be able to love what you eat, in my case at least, you got to learn to cook. And because when you learn to cook, you learn to eat. And so the better you get at that, the better your palate gets. And the more presence you bring to that, you start to sense things more deeply with more nuance. And suddenly it becomes a ritualistic experience to eat. And you start to learn to savor more. And you start to learn to express what you're loving about what you're eating. And so it's not just a transactional moment that is, you know, just about purely about nourishment. You know, it's also about bringing joy into your body. Because for me, if I don't love it, I'm not going to stick with it. And frankly, I don't like to put a label on how I eat. I eat pretty much a Mediterranean diet, which is considered oftentimes like one of the most enduring top diets that you could actually do. But it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle in the way that you eat, the kinds of things that you eat. I think portions are really important. You know, you have to train yourself a bit and teach yourself and initiate yourself to actually, you know, learn what you really enjoy and start to say no to the things that are not good. But I don't like to say no to like almost anything. I mean, there's a few things I just don't eat because I don't think it's really good, but I don't want to be in a position where I can't have a moment where I binge. You know, I can tell you this and this doesn't happen to me often, but a friend of mine brought me back some conlait from Bordeaux.
Okay.
To these little mushy pastries from Bordeaux. They're very well known, right? And I ate like I don't know, was it 8 of them yesterday or something? They're pretty small. You know, just like totally kind of going overboard. But because, you know, 99% of the rest of my life is I've learned to live a lifestyle way that makes it so any blips, it's almost like the stock market. You come back to normal. It's when that becomes chronic and we start to, you know, lean on that to serve us in some way, maybe emotionally or some kind of lack, or it's maybe the addiction because we all have something going on. But if we can redirect that in a way onto something else, you know, and distract ourselves with something else, we sometimes can replace that. So, but it's really about learning to eat and practicing in a way that teaches you the discipline and the willpower to make better choices. But if you're not present to what you're eating, you don't start to notice it. Oh, this is not really so great. When you come present, it's almost a curse and a blessing because you start to, you know, notice and say, oh, well, actually, I don't want to be eating that. I prefer to be eating this. And little by little, like all habits that you know about, Shay, I mean, you know, you start to eat in a way that your habits are trained to be eating. I really say, look at it like a lifestyle change. Don't diet. Diets don't seem to really work for people. It's a Band-Aid. It's you know, it's like I remember people telling me stories about people who at the end of the year after eating whatever they would eat and not really paying attention to that and drinking too much and blah, 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 they would go and have liposuction sessions to make up for the whole year of excess. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's a choice. You can live like that, but I really believe there's another way to do it. And particularly, and I stress this tremendously, you know me, Shay, I'm not into like not having pleasure in my life,
No,
right?
here's
My
what it,
life is infused with pleasure.
yeah.
But I mean, I think I look pretty good.
Awesome.
I manage it in a way that's not Dionysian, too much. And you
Yeah.
got to learn to train yourself to say no to yourself, like with anything. Sure.
Well, let's take it back to, you also mentioned that concept of, once you've learned how to love yourself, and food is such a beautiful example of, one area in our life where we can show ourselves love, and just by the way we see things differently, and be more conscious and present. And how can we share that with others? There's people out there that are in relationships today. There's people out there that are on their own today. It doesn't mean you can't share love. So what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, if you can actually realize that you're a person and that you can give love to yourself,
Mm,
right? And you can demonstrate love for yourself, like we were talking about with food.
mm,
Food is a great way to sort of have a meditative relationship
yeah.
with self-love. Like if there's anything that's a self-love movement,
Mm,
it's our relationship to what we put into our body, whether
mm,
it's information, media, cinema choices, book choices, who we spend time with, all these different types of things. So to start to become very conscious with what you are nourishing yourself with is really the first step for, self-love. And like look in the mirror at yourself and give yourself some love. Write a love note to yourself. And also just reach out to people and communicate with people as if you were in love with yourself. And I don't mean that. I mean, uh, like any sort of a narcissistic or egotistical kind of way. It's more really about, well, if you feel good with yourself,
yeah.
there's no reason not to be exuding and sharing that tremendously with others. I
Mm,
think there you have a full, your glass is completely full and you're sharing and serving it to others. If your glass is constantly empty because you're overly giving or you're not replenishing yourself in all these different ways and you're not taking care of yourself, for me, I don't think that's sustainable. And I don't really feel that we're demonstrating that we love ourselves, but demonstrating we love life,
mm.
and you got to take care of life, and you're the first part to, take care of.
And yeah, so that's beautiful and very true. I've always loved that overflow analogy. You can only give the overflow if you fill yourself up. Um, but are there any lovely ways that you can share that overflow, assuming that you are already sharing that with yourself?
To share it with others.
Mm,
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, you can send love letters to people. You can just send messages. I like to send messages to people when they least expect to receive a message from me, and to reach out. I reach out to a lot of people, and the best things to send like a surprise message or you're thinking about them. Like a video today is such a great way to reach out to somebody, and touch their heart and tell them you were thinking about them. Maybe you see something, and the minute you see something makes you think of somebody, capture it somehow or take a picture and send it to them. I think it's a very, very simple way using our modern, technology to do that. Of course, you can pick up a phone. Of course, you can do lots of other things, but very quickly, just already use photos and videos. I've done a lot, and like, who doesn't love to receive a message from somebody who you haven't seen or heard from in a really long time? And they send you a little something where they're not asking for something. They're just kind of, giving some love and uh, sending some of their, overflowing energy to others. And just think, whose day can I make today?
Absolutely. And I think that's a beautiful homework project for everybody out there. Once you've watched Inspired Online, obviously, whether it's Valentine's Day or not, who do you have in your life that maybe you haven't spoken to in a while, or maybe you speak to them every day, but how can you make that communication just special? And it doesn't need to be long. Special doesn't need to be an essay. It can be a moment, right? And we used to do that actually. Back when we used to be able to go out to dinner, I remember getting food pictures from you. I used to send some to you myself of, remember when we went to this place, or this is beautiful, you'd love it here, or whatever it is. It's such a lovely
And
idea.
maybe now it's about sending like something you're dreaming about doing with the person, right? Something you're looking forward to, the next thing, like this anticipation, this expectation, and like, I don't know, get dressed up before you send the message. If take advantage of moments where you're kind of in a festive mode. One of the things I was doing during some of the lockdown was also doing dance parties with a friend,
Yeah.
online, which is always a lot of fun. So just got to get a little bit more creative. I think this is part of what romance is about for me, is a sense that we actually lean into our creativity and we spend some time there exploring. We don't just give it away only to, for example, our work, but we give it to our friends, we give it to our health, we give it to our well-being. There's this dance that's going on that's constantly keeping our life in a delicious movement that's purposeful, so we don't dry up. I mean, gosh, some people are like, oh, I'm so burnt out, et cetera. It's like, well, maybe you're not getting resourceful or creative enough. It's not like it's not a challenging time, but like, is there any other greater spiritual movement or spiritual, let's say spiritual experience in some ways than what a lot of us are going through in the world right now?
Yeah.
If you really look at it that way and say, how am I going to romance life and romance myself or romance others, and reaching out and connecting to bring somewhat of, this sense of liveliness, a lifefulness, as I call it, into your life, something fun and serendipitous. If we let ourselves be sucked into this monotonous gray zone, we lose the rainbow colors of the world. I mean, I can only imagine that for you, Shay, without your connection to live music, for example, and the whole scene around that, and inspired the live version. I mean, yeah, there's lots of privation going on here, but you come online and you're sharing the love in this other way, and that's beautiful. And I applaud you for
You're making me laugh now, because late last night, when I should have been working,
that.
like, saw my guitar sitting there, and I haven't picked it up in a long time, and most people don't even know that I play. So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna figure out some chords to Annie's song. That. So I don't know what possessed me to do that, and I had to be pretty quiet because I have neighbors who would get upset if I was singing late, especially. um, and then they're quite complicated, or rather, if I look at the original chord book, they're quite complicated. I'm like, no, I can't do them. What would work? And I'm not someone that sits there and figures out chords, but that is exactly how I spent yesterday evening, because I don't have the live experience, not playing with my musician friends at the moment. So it's like, okay, and it made me happy.
You gotta mix it up and go, like when you have the impulse. It's like with food, like try and cook things you don't usually cook during this period. Don't just fall into the quicksand of easiest, etc. It's like, no, don't go watch something online today. Pick a book from your bookshelf and read it, or a picture book, or say you're going to write a love letter to somebody you haven't reached out to. So it's, this takes a lot of effort and time and stuff, sure. But if we spend a little bit more time creating rather than receiving and ingurgitating, I think we can shift the energy that we're feeling in life right now. You just need to be triggered. And once you're in there, you'll get dopamine hits and all these things that you're searching for to feel like there's something going on and you're feeling better. You just need to get over that quick moment of, just start doing, like you said, just have the impulse. Wow, I should just pick up the guitar and start playing. I love that.
Yeah, why
That's
not?
great.
So, so your latest project is all about romance and love.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
ask you, what inspired you to start writing, not only writing about romance, but just asking lots of people around the world, what does romance mean to you? What was your inspiration for starting that?
Mm. Well, I wrote in September, October of 2019 this story that's called Dance of the Love Caterpillars. And it's a story for romantics of all ages that are, you know, potentially looking for an inspirational romantic love story that, is partially about trusting life and believing that serendipity happens and something new can come into your life. And miraculous, random things can happen and, can suddenly make you run into somebody that you never thought you would have run into, for example.
Mm,
So it's a story about two caterpillars that actually run into each other from an accident that happens in nature. And
beautiful.
so I really wrote it because, as you know, Shay, earlier in 2019, I lost my wife of 27 years to a disease, and I wanted to find a way to probably reassure myself that I was loved and that there would always be great love there for me in life, and to never let go of that notion or that faith. And, I know a lot of people who are looking for love. I know a lot of people who want more love in their life or different love in their life. And it was, in one ways, it was like a reminder to myself to always remember that, again, take care of your, the romance with yourself, take care of that part, and you will attract romance in your life if you're open to that and you're, so-called ready. Uh, I believe that, you can have, again, uh, great love in your life. I had great love in my life, and I don't have any doubt that I will have great love again in my life. And it really is about this notion of being present and taking advantage of what is here and now and who's in our life and what we're doing, and to do what you love in life. I'm such a fan and champion of people who are pursuing what they love to do by choice and not by need. And there's a fine nuance there. For me, like artists, for example, are a great example of people who are pursuing what they want to be doing. And even in most cases, entrepreneurs are doing that, and other types of professions where people have literally chosen. It's not a default; they've actually chosen. And I can't, want more for these people to succeed who've dared to leave the mold and the mothership and to create something in the world, to dare to be in the arena of life in that way. And so, yeah, I mean, I really mostly wrote it to remind myself that life is resilient. And if you love life, you take care of yourself and you take care of other people. And, there's no reason why love doesn't abundantly uh, exist in your life in so many different ways. So I think also this time, I kind of put it aside for a little while, and it came back up here in the last month and a half. And I realized we're in such a period now where, like, no one really feels that romantic, because everyone's, at home dressed in their pajamas, and, there's no one's out in bars, no one's out, really dating in a way that, I mean, there's all sorts of things going on, but the human contact is not happening. And other things, I think, politically and socioeconomically and just like there's other kind of challenging stuff going on in the world, and we've almost kind of lost our sense of humor and our sense of romance, and I just wanted this to be a meaningful, pleasurable and purposeful reminder to us all that, we need to kind of lighten up and kind of love each other more and demonstrate it and stop being so, selfish and focused on like winning and beating and, and overall kind of bullying, which is something I'm very against. And so I want to bring a little bit of romance back into life and into the world. And this is my little contribution. And I'm also doing a video that, well, first of all, the book's coming out in early March, but we're doing a video that leads into that, where we did ask the question, is romance essential in your life? And if so, why?
Yeah.
And we have 33 people in this video that we made, which is absolutely stunning. We've made a really remarkable video as far as I'm concerned, that we will be sharing soon. I believe before the end of February, we should be able to share that. And yeah, I just want to bring a little bit of levity and fun and playfulness and jubilance and shared joy into the world, which feels like it's desperately focused on other things now. And I want to pattern break people and get them back to the joy and levity and the beauty of living.
Yeah. And we're not going to be locked down forever, so we will get outside again. But I have to ask you this as well. You asked people about, is romance essential in life? But what is romance to you?
Well, firstly, let me answer that it was fascinating for me to get the responses, which everyone will soon see. But romance goes way beyond sort of the classic view of a couple, buying chocolates and going for dinner and offering roses. It's something that is almost a way of being, a way of living in the world with everyone we encounter, really. And the responses that were given were really quite amazing, from the work that people do, the art that people create, the people that they're interacting with, like with everybody, that we want to bring romance into life, because that's what makes life really worth living. And so there's some people that answer kind of no and yes, but it's not yes.
No.
There's a couple of interesting no's, but it's a nuanced no. We didn't want to be too overly positive about it. No, but it's good because it gives it layers of kind of shades of colors and things. But it also demonstrates that, people are not making romance important in their life. And frankly, I mean, this is why a lot of people are living probably lives that they feel pretty bored by and jaded, and they've lost connection with what brings them self-pleasure. They can't find a way to actually feel good and feel at peace and connect with another. And, they're just kind of bored of their partner or their kids or their life or their work. Like, people have kind of let themselves fall into a monotonous, like hedonic adaptation to the world, which, leads to a very transactional way of living through the world. It's very, on-off switch. There's no, variator of the, light level. And I'm trying to really wake people up to say there is a variator of the light level. So for me, it's, romance is just a way of living through life. It's how do I bring fun and joy and a sense of levity in all parts of my life. And I'm a go-getter. I get stuff done. I live the life that I want to live, and I just constantly dream that we all can live in a way that's, where you actually feel good about everything that happens in your life, because you come from a place of being in love with life. You're having this romance affair, and you can't tell me anyone who's ever been in romance that it's like a straight line, it's all just once it's good, it's good. Well, it's kind of like a roller coaster. Sure, for you, Shay, of course, because you're miraculous. But so, like, how do we live through that with a little bit of grace for ourselves and giving ourselves permission to be daring and creative in ourselves, and to constantly bring spice and flavor, make moments special, like eating, like make eating special, not just on Valentine's Day. Do it as much as you possibly can. Like bring out the grandmother's silverware like 3 times a week or something, don't just wait until the holidays. Let's just, make life more special, because it's more fun, and we maximize where we are here and now, who we're with, and just like romance everything. When you send notes to people to ask for a business favor, try and romance the person. It makes life so much more playful and fun and not so dreary and boring, frankly, and I think it helps us get through the hard times. It gives us resilience to say, there's another perspective. There's something bigger going on here. Like I can be in a space of joy and peace, and I don't have to get caught in simply chasing thoughts. So yeah, romance is this unbelievable connection with life that brings this sense of being alive out of you. And for everyone, this will be unique. But it's not just the humdrum status quo, let's do as we always did. Not that traditions are not nice, but it's really about how do you make this moment here now with whatever I'm doing something that can be pleasurable and ideally purposeful also. And yeah, I think you start walking through life with a bigger smile on your face, no matter what's going on, and all these little things we have to deal with in life, that gets taken care of, and you just you live more on the hopeful, positive, loving side of life. And I think we make the world a better place like this. We treat people better, and consequently people treat us better, and they treat others better, and like little by little the world gets away from this very stark, like low gear life that we're living in right now, that's very nervous, and we're in a more graceful, kind of elegant way of living the world with more generosity and kindness, and again, like pleasure, sensuousness and alifefulness. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And the more of us do that, the more of life around us improves. And that answer is
Yeah.
exactly why, yes, is the answer to, is romance essential? Why would it not be?
Yeah.
But thank you for spending this time with us. It's been so beautiful. And
Thank you for having me.
you'd like to share with our audience today?
Oh, sorry. What else would I like to share with our
Yeah,
audience?
do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about, of course, Dance of the Love Caterpillars, my romantic short story, which will be coming out in the beginning of March.
Can't wait to read.
And anyone who's a romantic or an aspiring romantic, or knows somebody who is,
And we should all be.
will be, will be I think, interestingly delighted by this story, which doesn't come out on Valentine's Day because it's not a Valentine's Day story. It's a story about romance and love, which is eternal and timeless, and is really in some ways for all ages of people, let's say 15 upward, who are interested in a more hopeful world that has love and possibility and hope and serendipity, that life is full of surprises that are coming out. So that's going to be coming out in you can get it in a print version and a digital version. And we're just finalizing the most exquisite audio version. Ooh. With an original composed piece of music for the whole stretch of it, it's about 12 minutes long.
Beautiful.
And it's really just so, so lovely. And so, yeah, it's kind of my way of giving something into the world to remind people to, life is so beautiful. We're in so many ways so spoiled, and to go back to this place of romantic appreciation and to learn to better savor who we are, what we have in our lives, and to, use more of our sensorial intelligence to get better at using our senses to feed us the information so we can make better choices about the pleasure and the purpose that, makes life worth really living. So that'll come out in the video, which about Shay is Romance Essentials, coming up before that. I hope within the next week or so we will launch that insanely viral video that everyone should watch. Really, everyone. People from 11 years old to 69 years old are in the video. From I don't know,
Well, I was say hey.
3 or 4 continents, and it's
Yeah, even if you're over 69, hopefully that will be relevant.
69 plus. So yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to share.
Oh, beautiful. And how can people get in touch with you to, find that exact date? Obviously, we'll share it as well, but
sure. Well, first of all, I want to offer some copies of the book to Inspired Online, and maybe you can give away on a next show.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
If you would like that, some way, some romantic way.
So,
So we'll take care of arranging that. And yeah, you can find me on davidbrower.com, not davidbrower.org, the famous David Brower. I'm almost as famous. I'm getting there. Oh, gosh, dream on. Yeah, David Brower, BROWER.com. And I'm also on Facebook as David Brower, and on Instagram as the Sensorial Guy.
Absolutely. Would you like to, those people that would like a copy of the book, would you like to set them a little task as to how to get it? So it could be comment on the video, it could be say something loving, it could be whatever you like. What do you want them to do?
To get a copy of the book? Mm-hmm. For the books that I'm going to offer you?
Yeah.
Wow. I think it would be amazing to, and I'm going to be doing something around this likely also, is, yeah, turning the question to everyone else, is romance essential in your life, and why? And so maybe we could get, people to send in videos, and, you and I'd be happy to look at it also if you want, or whatever, or you can decide, who you want to send a book to, do like a lottery or something.
Cool. Okay. Well, if you would like to do a video on why is romance essential, please do. You can do that in my Facebook group, which is, well, go to facebook.com inspired stage. You'll find all the details there. You can message us. Yeah, this is so lovely. It's been great to virtually visit Paris.
Yeah.
And hopefully, well, I will be back one day, I will, no doubt. And yes. It's of course been lovely to see you again.
Same here, Shay.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Thanks for having me, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Love yourself, love the world. Romance life. Romance life.